You know that really satisfying sound that ice makes when it's knocking around in a glass? What if that sound was made by your keyboard? Yeah, meet the Lofree Flow. If you've been on the hunt for the perfect low profile keyboard, there's a big possibility this is the one that you've been looking for. But it's not perfect. This video is sponsored by Hoto tools. A few months ago I made a video showcasing some of the best 75% low profile mechanical keyboards you can buy, and according to several comments I got on this one, it seems like I missed an important option. Now, lots of people asked me why I hadn't yet looked at the Lofree Flow, and in this video we're going to be taking a closer look at this curious pretender to the 75% low profile throne. We'll see what you get in the box, go over all the features and some surprising aspects about this keyboard's design, and guess what, I'm even going to open it up to have a little look under the surface. Oh, and of course you're going to get a showcase of what this feels and sounds like to type with. Honestly, just wait until you hear what this thing sounds like. Come on, let's get into it. So let's start with a quick look at what we get in the box. This is all pretty minimal. We've got some paperwork, a USB-C to USB-A cable, and then here's the board itself. So the first thing that strikes me about this keyboard is some of the design choices that Lofree have gone with. So there are two color options to choose from here. There are black keycaps with phantom switches, which are tactile, or there are white keycaps with the ghost switches, which are linear. Now, this is all hot swappable, so if you like one look but you want a different typing feel, you can swap them around, which is great. And they also do a clicky option called Wizard if you're into really noisy keyboards. I'll cover more on these switches a little later because they are a bit unusual. Now, as you can see, I've gone with the white option, and this is surrounded by these little brass accents on the side here with the Lofree logo, and also on the underside here with these little feet. I do think these little flashes give a nice premium feel, and it looks like a really classy item sat on any desk. Now, these feet are fixed in place, you can't adjust them, but this does place the keyboard on a nice comfortable angle, which means you're unlikely to want to use a wrist rest while you're typing. The rest of the keyboard is wrapped in an aluminium frame and base, which maintains this sleek look. There's no plastic in sight in terms of the exterior, which is something you only usually see on more expensive competitors. And all this means that the end result is a super light, super thin board. It's only 10mm thick and weighs in at 568 grams. Now, last week on the channel I was testing a transparent board, which is actually 3 times the weight of the Lofree, and this feels like a tank by comparison, and not necessarily in a good way. It does mean this is super easy to slip the Lofree Flow into a bag if you know you're off to do some digital nomading and you're unlikely to really notice it's in there while you're wandering around. Now, flipping everything around, let's take a look at these custom keycaps. These are PBT die sub keycaps, and in my testing I found they are brilliant at keeping everything free of grease and grime and your dirty little fingers. Now, Lofree do offer some more colourful options in the standard black and white colourways, but each of these are going to set you back about $59 for a full set. Underneath the keycaps we've got two really interesting features that I haven't seen on any other boards of this size. Whether you go in for the Ghost or the Phantom switches, these are Kale full POM switches, which Lofree claim are a world first on a low profile board like this. So POM stands for this word here. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it, but it's a type of thermoplastic material which is known for high levels of durability and stability under various conditions. In keyboard switches, being made of POM will result in smoother keystrokes, reduced wear over time, and a consistent feel during typing. And presumably, this is why Lofree have called this the smoothest mechanical keyboard. And because it's not just POM, it's full POM, and that means that both the housing and the stem of the switch are made from this special material, which also means that it's self-lubricating and it'll get even smoother over time. It's a really impressive piece of engineering. We are going to do a full typing test shortly, but I feel like I need to point out at this stage that when I filmed the unboxing and I actually pressed these keys for the first time, the camera wasn't pointed at my face, but if it was, you'll have seen that I basically did this. And then I let out this involuntary noise that sounded a bit like a gorilla being tickled. Just going to leave that there while you picture that scene. As I mentioned earlier, this video is sponsored by Hoto tools. Now, I don't really know what sort of person it makes me if I go on record as calling a screwdriver sexy, but I'm willing to take a risk on this one. I mean, just look at this. This is Hoto's precision screwdriver set. It comes in this presentation case, which also doubles up as a charging solution for this wireless electric screwdriver. And then the box opens up to be this little portable workstation. Just look at this. This little magnetic pad holds all this lot in, and it even gives you a work surface to operate from. You get a total of 48 accessories designed to help you perform precise work on things like PC builds, gadget repairs, you name it. Now, I'm willing to bet that there's probably someone really nerdy in your life who you think has got everything and you need to go out and buy a gift for around this time of year. Do yourself a favour, just get them this, as there's bound to be a use case that this will work for. It's even got a built-in magnetizer and demagnetizer. They've thought of absolutely everything. I've left a link and a discount code down in the description if you want to go check it out. Now, in my case, I'm going to be using this screwdriver to take off some of these screws and see what's inside the keyboard. Something I've been really curious to know is, what is this big bulge round the back? My guess is the battery, which is, by the way, a 2000 milliamp hour capacity, which, while not being game changing, will give you around 40 hours of usage and also fast charge via USB-C in just 3 hours, which is pretty good. Now, there is another thing I'm looking for here. This is the only keyboard of this size that I'm aware of that is gasket mounted. Now, I can't show you this working because it's all hidden away behind all of this sound dampening material like foam and silicone, but there is a gasket pad, and that is like a little suspension rig for your keys. So here's an example of a gasket mount flexing on that heavy see-through keyboard I showed you earlier. Now, all of this comes together to give a very specific typing sound and feel, which I've got to say is absolutely unmatched in this space. I've been using this keyboard for about a week, and as someone with a pretty dangerous keyboard habit, I haven't picked up any of my others in that time. It's just that good. I'm going to do my best to capture this on camera for you. Here are some different sounds and angles for you to have a listen for yourselves. Now, in terms of other features, I'd say you get pretty much what you should expect here. So yes, you can connect this in wired mode or via Bluetooth to up to 3 devices. Now, there's no 2.4G wireless dongle option, but that is always something that Lofree can look at for version 2. This is also configurable for Mac and Windows, and again, you can easily switch between devices and modes with a custom key press. If you're a fan of lights on a keyboard, prepare to be disappointed. There are some side lights which project down onto your desk, and they come in a number of different colours, although not loads, and the backlight on the keys themselves is just a white LED. And because the keycaps aren't shine through, you basically only get a kind of dull glow around the keys. It's not particularly bright or mesmerising like you get on some other keyboards. There is also one other front-facing light under the spacebar, which is there to let you know the charging status and also when the keyboard needs to be recharged. Now, for me, I couldn't care less about lights. I rarely type or work in pitch black where I need or want my keyboard illuminated, but if that's really important for you, just bear that in mind before you consider this one. Likewise, if you're the sort of person who likes to use software like VIA to customize which keys do what, there's nothing like that here. The layout that you get is the layout that you're stuck with, and aside from using your computer's OS to mess with this a little bit, you've really not got the kind of customization that you can see in some of its competitors like the Lofree Air 75 V2. Again, this isn't a huge deal breaker for me personally, but if you're a coder or a gamer, this might be something that could put you off. Price-wise, this retails at just under 160 US, which puts it in the mid-range when it comes to mechanical keyboards and squarely up against the likes of the Lofree Air 75 and Keychron's frankly bulging K3 range. But for what you get, I think this is well priced, and for me, that typing feel is up there with keyboards I've used that are twice this price, and just by itself, I think would justify the investment in the Lofree Flow. If you want to check it out for yourself, I've left a link in the description below, or you can use the QR code on the screen here if you're watching on a TV. In conclusion, I think this keyboard is a bit like having an absolutely beautiful gourmet meal kit arrive at your home. If that's what you fancy and you're happy with what comes in the box, you'll be really satisfied with this one. Now, if you crave customization, on the other hand, it might feel a bit like going into a fine dining restaurant and finding they only have a fixed menu, in which case, this might not be a cup of tea. Which of those camps do you fit into? Let me know along with any questions you have in the comments below. And finally, if you fancy a chance to be entered into a monthly prize draw to win some of the items I showcase here on the channel, like this keyboard or the Hoto screwdriver set, you can join my Patreon for the price of a small beer every month. Now, as well as the giveaways, you'll get all kinds of behind the scenes information about future videos and insights into how I run the channel. I've left a link down in the description if you want to join the club and help support future content. And you know, I get that times are tough these days, so if you don't want to or you can't do that, you can still support the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing before you leave, and maybe also consider using my affiliate links to buy any items you like the look of. Now, there's a video coming up which I bet will help you make an even more informed choice about where to go next if, like me, you've fallen down the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole. It's coming up in 3, 2,